I have never felt this low as a Manchester United supporter. Yeah, about that. Since the last time I talked about this team, I thought life would have moved on. Maybe I would have learned a new skill, a new language, picked up a hobby, maybe even got a girlfriend. But here I am, none of that has happened, and worst of all, Manchester United is doing worse than ever. Just like me, this team also promised progress, promised growth, and promised change. Instead, all we got was disappointment, wasted potential, and Andre Onana. So let's start from where we last left off. Last season, United firmly cemented themselves as a lower half team. We got knocked out of the EFL Cup because apparently defending corners was really hard. Then bundled out of the FA Cup at the hands of Fulham. We closed the season with a 15th place finish in the Premier League, our lowest since being relegated back in 73-74. But hey, that was fine since we tanked everything else to focus on the Europa League. We limped all the way to the final only to lose to Tottenham again for the 4th time that season. And the worst parts were the things they posted online afterwards. They've had these saved on their hard drive since the last time they won a trophy, which was in 2008 when I was 3 years old. So coming into this summer transfer window, change was a must. First, the fireworks. United went heavy on the front line. Matheus Cunha arrived from Wolves for around £62.5 million, a statement signing meant to inject pace and goals. He had just finished his best season yet with 15 league goals, Wolves' top scorer. Then came Bryan Mbeumo from Brentford, 65 million plus add-ons. After Ivan Toney's departure, Mbeumo stepped up as Brentford's talisman, banging in 20 league goals, their top scorer. And finally, Benjamin Šeško from RB Leipzig, roughly £66 million plus extras. He had just had his breakout year in Germany, leading Leipzig with 21 goals in all competitions. That's 3 new strikers, close to £200 million spent, all in the same summer. On top of that, United brought in Diego Leon, an exciting 18-year-old Paraguayan left-back. On the exit side, Johnny Evans, Christian Eriksen, and Victor Lindelof all walked away at the end of their contracts. Marcus Rashford was shipped out on loan to Barcelona, and Anthony was looking to be back at Betis, finally looking like a footballer, just not for us. Jadon Sancho, Rasmus Højlund, Tyrell Malacia, and Alejandro Garnacho are basically waiting for someone to take them off our hands. Honestly, I think this list is incomplete. Besides all that, yeah, sure, we revamped the attack, 3 shiny new strikers and all, but are we actually gonna do something about the rest of the team? What about the midfield? Casemiro is like a million years old. We sniffed around Carlos Baleba, but Brighton ain't selling. Then there's the defense. Last season it leaked goals like a broken faucet, and the thought of watching Luke Shaw play another full season put me straight in intensive care. Then the goalkeepers, Onana and Baynder. Watching those two try to stop shots again, that would be the end of me. So yeah, attack is cool, but are we gonna fix the spine of this team or not? So let's roll it back to July, the pre-season tour. How did we actually look when the football started again? First up, Leeds United. My big takeaway from this match was that Tom Heaton should honestly be our number 1 goalkeeper. We dominated the game but couldn't finish for shit. Next up, West Ham in the Premier League Summer Series. And the first half performance felt like a completely different team compared to last season. Rasmus Højlund actually looked improved. His hunger, his movement, he genuinely looked sharper. And Bruno Fernandes, he's just so casually nonchalant. Then came Bournemouth. Rasmus Højlund. Holy shit. He created space for himself, he ran into it, and he actually scored. Overall, it was a very dominant display. Up next, Everton. Mbeumo made his debut and he linked up with other players really well. Mason Mount put one in the net, literally identical to the one he scored last season. Then came a freakish own goal that I couldn't explain with words. We drew, and that sealed the very prestigious Premier League Summer Series. Finally, back at Old Trafford against Fiorentina. Benjamin Šeško was introduced to the crowd, and David De Gea finally got the standing ovation he deserved after the fans have witnessed horrors beyond their comprehension. Then Fiorentina's first goal happened, and it looked kinda like Muller's strike in that 7-1 match. We equalized with a scrappy own goal and went on to win on penalties to win the Snapdragon Cup. The season hasn't even started, and we have already completed the treble. That's enough false hope to carry us into August and our first Premier League fixture. Arsenal. Ruben Amorim versus his former player Viktor Gyökeres. Could this finally be the year we break the cycle of underwhelming openers?
inside, bends it towards goal. Oh, it's in the back of the net.
Of course not. I swear to God, this team always brings the most asinine tactics when they play us, and somehow they always get away with it. Last season at the Emirates, corner after corner after corner after corner, and here, 13 minutes in, I was instantly reminded why I fucking hate this club. I hate Arsenal. I hate anything or anyone affiliated with this club. Their fans called themselves the Gunners, for Christ's sake. William Saliba.
You miserable piece of shit.
Ricardo Calafiori. Your own coach is in love with you. How do you even process that? Martin Odegaard. You played like you were wearing jeans out there. David Raya. I hate you because you were so good. And all we have is Andre Onana. Maxwell. You should have been locked away for what you did on that island, you sick man. And Mikel Arteta. You really put the arse in Arsenal. Spending like Man City. Playing like Burnley. United's defense is literally the same broken mess as last season, and yet Arsenal's supposedly world-class attack still looked underwhelming against these lot. Against the defense that had Luke Shaw in it. Besides all that, United actually played really well. This was a completely different picture from the lifeless mess we saw last season. They looked sharp, energetic, and eager in attack, with Cunha and Mbeumo constantly probing. If it wasn't for David Raya, and if that penalty shot had gone our way, who knows how different this game could have been. United dominated the possession, created more shots, double what Arsenal managed, and for once looked like a team with a plan. Amorim has game, but at the end of the day, what's new? Different season, same old scars. But hey, we move on. Next up, Fulham away. United actually started brightly. Within 2 minutes, Cunha hit the post. In the 14th minute, a long ball up from the back found him again. And I was so glad it was Cunha on the end of it. If that was Højlund, the ball would be orbiting Saturn right now. But somehow, Bert Leno kept it out. Later on, Bassi was caught pulling down Mason Mount in the box, and that's a penalty. Bruno stepped up, and he simply doesn't miss from the spot.
Waits, exhales, starts his run up, and right-footed.
In the second half, the spark vanished. United only went ahead in the 58th minute thanks to sheer dumb luck. Fulham then subbed on ex-Arsenal man Emil Smith-Rowe. And just 94 seconds later, there it is! Another cross, another goal. This team has an excessive case of storophobia. So we earned one more point than last week, but it felt like a step back. The same gaping holes as last season. Literally, the two-man midfield of number 10 Bruno and million-year-old Casemiro got swamped constantly. Like, look at this sequence that led to the goal. Two of our defenders got pulled out of position because we love man marking, which opened a gap here. Ugarte had to drop back to cover, leaving another massive gap here. Fulham just played a couple of passes and sliced through us like butter. And when Marco Silva adjusted, Amorim just stood there. No counter, no tweak, no plan B, no nothing. That's what kills me, the tactical frigidness. Sooner or later, it's going to come back and bite us hard in the ass. And now, the reason you're all here. Manchester United faced Grimsby Town in the what round? The last time United were dragged down to this level was back in 2014 against the most disliked club in world football, MK Dons. Back when our front three was Kagawa, Chicharito, and Danny Welbeck. Ryan Giggs was in his coaching tracksuit sitting next to Van Gaal. Johnny Evans was in that lineup and he gave MK their first goal. For the second, Greek scored with his chest. Yes, he chested it in. The third came from yet another error, and for the fourth, Benica Folk just bullied his way through half our backline like they weren't even there. The final score was 4-0. The last time we showed our face in the second round, it was nothing short of a public execution. Maybe it was a sign of things to come. And looking at the lineup for this match, 22 minutes in, United lost the ball in midfield and Grimsby went forward down our left. And it doesn't take a degree in rocket science to see there's a gaping hole on our right side. Where the fuck is Diogo Dalot? And Ahmad, you see the entire flank is empty. Why are you not doing anything about it? So Burns cut inside, swung it across, and of course it landed right into that gigantic hole at the back post. And I have no idea what kind of goalkeeper Onana is. The kind that doesn't save, doesn't distribute, doesn't even come off his line properly. I defended this man for as long as humanly possible. Yeah, that was near post, but you needed superhuman reflexes to stop that, alright? That's not on him. But But this is unacceptable. This was just a man being utterly incompetent at his job. But it was clear his reign of terror was not over, because just 8 minutes later, Grimsby Town won a corner.
Oh, na na na. Oh, na na na. This is. Oh, na na na.
Is in big trouble, and it's going to be forced in. Warren, the former Manchester United trainee.
I sat there in silence, motionless, watching the screen like a man who just witnessed the collapse of civilization. I thought about all the legends who wore these shirts. Schmeichel, Van der Sar, even De Gea with his buttery hands. And now I have this man, a man who couldn't catch a cold in Antarctica. I looked around my room, and for the first time in my life, I asked myself, what's the point? That first half made me feel physically ill. Momentum-wise, United were second best almost the entire time. Grimsby were constantly probing and pressing. Their pressing was so good, stupidly good. Just a couple of years ago, United had Ralf Rangnick, the godfather of gegenpressing, trying to install exactly that kind of system. Now, in 2025, a League 2 side was pulling it off better than we ever did. All that hunger, all that energy we saw against Arsenal, gone, vanished, like it never existed. And look at him, Amorim on the bench, shaken, shivering, gripping that little tactics board like it's a life raft. He looked like he was trying to solve quantum mechanics while the house was burning down around him. For a split second, I almost felt bad for him. Almost. Because then came the second half, and there it was again. Tactical frigidness. We were chasing the game against a League 2 side, and somehow we were still playing with a back 5 shape. We needed to actually attack. Instead, all it meant was that every time we lost the ball, those 5 players just froze like statues to keep that meaningless back 5 shape. Ruben, whatever tactical things you tactically tried to tactically improve on that tactics board were not tactically sounding. Have a tic-tac. You're not yourself when you're hungry. But finally, after United laid siege to Grimsby's goal, something finally went our way as Mbeumo slotted home his first goal for the club. And just when it looked like it was all over, Harry Maguire rose from the ashes, dragging us to penalties. And it was here, at long last, that Onana actually did something. He saved a penalty. Oh my god, he actually did something. Then came Matheus Cunha, the final spot kick. Score this, and at least we could salvage whatever dignity, whatever scraps of pride we had left.
Score this. Could be like a fight back like Istanbul. We could win this game. I know he might keep his job. Ah, fuck that.
Do it.
Sudden death came and neither side blinked. Then finally, it was Bryan Mbeumo, the man who scored our first, the man who dragged us back from the abyss. All he had to do was repeat it, just slot it in.
Ah, fuck that.
Oh, it's Grimsby's night. They've reeled in the big fish. An outpouring of joy at Blundell Park. They thought, surely, when Manchester United came back, that it would be the one that got away. But the story of Carabao Cup Round 2 has been written here.
I wanna f myself.
Literally, no one from that team did anything correctly, especially the £200 million attack we just signed. Cunha missed the crucial penalty, and Mbeumo scored but went from hero to zero. And Šeško, just before the final whistle, could have put it away, but no, he decided to gift it to the crowd instead. Who are you? I don't even know what to say anymore. You know what? I'm tired. Just pile it on me. Come on. Højlund to Napoli. Great! Fantastic! I know another guy from United who went to Napoli. He's living like a king now. Won the Serie A, won Serie A MVP, fan favorite, Ballon d'Or nominee, and now he gets to link up in midfield with De Bruyne. Muck Bruyne. Meanwhile, we all have the disprivilege of watching Rasmus transform into prime Mikel Laudrup right before our eyes. Alright, what's next? Garnacho is gone. Yes! That bicycle kick against Everton was breathtaking. Won him the Puskás Award. But secretly, it was the worst thing that could have happened to him. Because after that, Garnacho decided he was Messi and Ronaldo combined. He was being a bit of a nuisance. Things started to go south when Amorim dropped him back in December. To his credit, he fought his way back, even finishing with double digits for both goals and assists in the middle of United's worst season in modern history. But the cracks were obvious. Too often, whenever the ball came his way, he'd make the dumbest decision possible. Opponents figured it out fast. Triple team Amat, ignore Garnacho, and United's attack would collapse. Then came the Europa League final. He played, but afterwards he made it all about himself. And this summer, Garnacho posted himself in a Rashford Villa shirt and told United it's Chelsea or I'll just sit out 6 to 12 months. Well, congratulations, buddy. You got your wish. Garnacho is off to Chelsea for £40 million. All that just to become their fourth choice winger. Enjoy the bench, pal. Okay, keep it coming. Hooray! New goalkeeper! No more Onana bin Laden. But then I remember, this is Manchester United. The second Laments walk into the theater of dreams, he's going to turn into Onana anyway. Keep it coming! Kobe Mainu wants out? Really? This is what we're doing now? He didn't play a single minute in our first 2 games this season. Of course he's frustrated. I know maybe he's faded in importance, but if he leaves, my head will literally explode. Alright, it can't get any worse. Ah, my fucking leg! That's it. I am done! Done! Do you hear me? I am done! Oh, okay, never mind. Even more great news! Let me open the door for you! The last time United lost in the second round of the EFL Cup, we immediately drew 0-0 against Burnley. This time, we are playing Burnley again. And I swear on my mother's life, a goalless draw versus Burnley would put me in the ICU. It's been a terrible August for me. I literally forgot my own birthday. I had a terrible cold. This video took a million years to make because my software kept crashing. I have zero prospect of ever getting a girlfriend, and the one true love of my life, Manchester United, keeps treating me worse than dirt. And the worst part is that I still have an entire season of this absolute bullshit ahead of me. I wanna end it all. But Amorim did say this.
I think we proved today that we can win any game in the Premier League.
And to be fair, Grimsby Town is not in the Premier League. I can't believe I have to point that out. So Ruben, you better put your money where your mouth is, or else I'll take it and shove it up your back door. 27th minute, United drew a foul from Kyle Walker. Fernandes whipped in the free kick and Casemiro met it with his forehead. The ball pinged off the post, then clattered off Josh Cullen and beat Dubravka over the goal line. 1-0 United. 10 minutes into the second half, the ball found Rune Lawson out wide and shit, that's a cross.
Side space here as the ball's whipped in, it's turned goalwards and it's turned home.
Literally seconds later, Dalot stormed down the byline, picked out Mbeumo free in the box, and he tucked it home. 2-1 United. 66th minute. And shit, that's a cross. Well, technically it was a long throw-in, but it was basically a cross, so shit all the same.
Really making life difficult. Flicked on though, really dangerous. Into the penalty area, shot comes in, saved, turned goalwards. It is kept.
The scorer's name is Jadon Anthony, for crying out loud. But United kept pushing. Then in the second minute of stoppage time, Amad Diallo got dragged back, stumbled into the box, VAR check, penalty given. 7 minutes into stoppages. Practically the last kick of the game. Walking up to the spot, it's Bruno Fernandes.
Waits, exhales, starts his run up, and right-footed.
Yes! He's done it! He won it for Manchester United from the spot! We actually won a football match! Cue the celebration! Finally, I can finally sleep at night knowing that Matheus Cunha has just picked up an injury, knowing that we only scraped past newly promoted Burnley and yet celebrated like Vietnam just won the World Cup, and knowing we just successfully kicked the can down the road. But hey, all the bad apples are gone, and also it's international break, baby. 2 glorious weeks where I don't have to watch this team torture me. Of course, on the other side of the break, it's Manchester City waiting for us. Oh, for God's sake. Oh, wait. Nah, we'll be fine. I am an idiot. Okay, so I somehow procrastinated so hard that the international break came and went, and the next 2 matches already happened while I was still editing. I fully deserved the worst. And one of the things that happened during the break was... Yeah! It's over! I never thought this day would come! The devil is dead! I have never felt this happy! This liberated in my entire existence! I have been waiting for this day my whole life! Well, the last 2 years, but you get the point. 2 years of calamity between the posts finally shipped off to Turkey. Maybe he'll rediscover himself there. Maybe he won't. But for us, it's addition by subtraction. Anyway, the party's over because right after the break, we had to get back to business. Away at the Etihad. And heading into that match, United had problems. Lots of them. Problem number 1, defending crosses. All 6 goals we had conceded so far came from some variety of cross. 3 direct, 1 from a corner, 1 from a long throw, and 1 from, I guess that was a cross. Problem number 2, the midfield. Amorim insists on his 3-4-3, but to make it work you need a functioning midfield. We don't fucking have that. Bruno is an attacking midfielder forced to play deeper. Casemiro is ancient. Manuel Ugarte, more like Augusto Pinochet Ugarte, the Chilean dictator who was
Notoriously unreliable at keeping records.
and Amorim just doesn't like Komi Mainu at all. Problem number 3, scoring goals. United have taken the most shots in the league, yet out of the 4 goals they scored, 2 were own goals. 1 was a late penalty. Nobody in this team could hit water if they fell out of a boat. And problem number 4, Ruben Amorim himself. His philosophy does work, but when it doesn't, say it with me, tactical frigidness. Everyone else adapts. Our Ruben clings to his system like it's a life raft. On the other side though, City had just lost to Spurs and Brighton. Their youth team lost to ours, and in 5 meetings, Pep only beat Amorim once. So despite all the doom and gloom, the signs were somehow pointing towards a United win. So let's get to the match, shall we?
Central actually keeps on coming. Good run from Doku, and then the second ball, and the header's in! Phil Foden!
Mate, this is bullshit! If you ever see the Man United team bus on the road, never cross in front of them. They'll run you over 110%. As halftime approached, things were looking bleaker and bleaker. In their last 51 Premier League home games after leading at halftime, City had won 44, drawn 6 and only lost once. But hey, silver linings. Do you know which team handed them that one loss?
Doku on towards Haaland in the penalty area! City 2, United 0! City are putting United under pressure, and United have lost the ball, and Haaland's through the middle, and Haaland gets number 3! City, oh, it's not crossed the line! His best as Haaland gets to this one-on-one, and he's through, and he's got a chance to make it 3-0! Can he tuck it in? You bet he can! City!
Pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. Now I could go on and on about each player individually, but that would take me all day. So let's focus on just one man. Ruben Amorim. In the post-match press conference, he had this to say about his tactics.
But I'm not going to change. When I want to change my philosophy, I will change. If not, you have to change the man.
No! As I said in the beginning, change is a must. I am begging for change. This man cares more about his precious philosophy than the actual results. Okay, I need to distract myself. How's Højlund doing? He scored in his first match? Okay, what about Onana? You've got to be kidding me. Chelsea, I was not looking forward to this match at all. Chelsea hadn't beaten us at Old Trafford since May 2013. That could change this time thanks to Mr. Record Breaker. Before the match, he even said this. this? I was bracing for the absolute worst. But just 5 minutes in, and Mbeumo was suddenly one-on-one with Robert Sanchez. The keeper panicked, wiped him out, and Chelsea were down to 10 men. 14th minute, Mazraoui whipped in a cross, Dorgu nodded it towards goal, and Fernandes, on his 200th Premier League appearance, tapped in his 100th Manchester United goal. Things somehow got even better as Cole Palmer was subbed off with a groin injury. Chelsea had already burned their 3 substitutions in the first 21 minutes, swapping attackers for defensive players. 37th minute, a scrappy clearance popped up in the box, Maguire got a touch, and Casemiro doubled our lead. And I was like, yes, yes, yes! We were 2-0 up against the world champions with a man advantage. But then Casemiro did this, and I was like, no, no, no! You were already booked, you absolute dunderhead. I get it. It was soft, Casemiro got the ball, but he sold it to the ref by wrapping his arms around Santos. Why could he never keep his hands to himself? The second half was very shaky. After the Chilean dictator was subbed on, United became way too cautious. Trevor Chalobah pulled one back for Chelsea, but we held on. United 2, Chelsea 1.
World champion of what?
So yeah, that was surprising. I know it was against 10-man Chelsea. I know Maresca delivered a disaster class, and I know that even in victory, it's impossible to ignore how close we came to collapsing. Ahmad was anonymous, and Casemiro, that's now his 3rd red card since August 2022, more than any other player in the league. But this was a huge win. It was our first set of consecutive home league victories within the same season under the same manager since December 2023. And Ruben Amorim actually has more points than games played in the league. Looking back, it's kind of depressing that I'm celebrating this. Overall, I honestly don't know what to feel right now. This result filled me with hope, but not that much hope. We still cannot defend crosses, Amorim's stubbornness isn't going anywhere, and Casemiro is aging like milk left out in the sun. But you take what you can get. When confidence is this low, every scrap of progress counts, no matter how small. Even with this win, United's league start is still worse than in 92-93. But hey, that season United ended up winning the league.